We start over at the top office, where President Moon Jae-in met with the nation's business leaders to devise a strategy to counter Japan's tech-related export curbs against South Korean firms. Now, it's the first such meeting between the president and business leaders since January. For more, we connect live to our presidential office correspondent Shin Se-min, standing by at the top office for us. Semin, tell us more about this meeting.
Right, the meeting that began at around 10:30 this morning and was scheduled to wrap at noon is still ongoing. President Moon Jae-in and the leaders of 34 businesses are having a meeting today here at the top office to devise a countermeasures to Japan's export curb that was announced early this month. And during the meeting today, the president had said mainly two things: a need for short-term and a more fundamental measures. Listen to this.
우리 기업의 피해가 최소화되도록 수입처의 다변화와 국내 생산의 확대, 또 해외 원천 기술의 도입 등을 정부가 적극 지원하겠습니다. 우리 주력 산업의 핵심 기술, 핵심 부품, 소재, 장비의 국산화 비율을 획기적으로 높여 해외 의존도를 낮추는 계기로 삼아야 할 것입니다.
And adding to that, the president said that the government is facing unreasonable export restrictions by Japan and is doing its utmost to find a diplomatic solution. President Moon once again called for Japan to act responsibly, as such retaliatory measures will only result in damaging the two countries' bilateral friendship and cooperation on national security. Now, he also urged for conglomerate-driven collaboration on top of the government's measures. At the meeting today were key figures from South Korea's big five conglomerates. That is Samsung, Hyundai Motor, SK, LG, and Lotte Group. But Samsung Electronics vice chair and the de facto leader Lee Jae-yong and Lotte Group's Shin Dong-bin were not at the meeting, instead sending other representatives, as they are in Japan looking for ways to minimize the impact of the export curbs on their respective companies.
So we might have to wait a while for the details of today's meeting to come out, but this isn't the first meeting that the top office has had since Japan's announcement of export restrictions, right?
Right, to the presidential office, the South Korean government and the businesses had been putting their heads together since the latest announcement on Japan's export curb early this month. Now, for one, this past Sunday, the presidential chief of staff for policy, Kim Sang-jo, and the nation's top economic policymaker, Hong Dam-gi, had held a meeting with the country's large conglomerates, including the heads of Hyundai Motor, SK, and LG Group. Now, it's been reported that they've discussed business responses as well as the government's support plans. And prior to that, the presidential chief of staff also met with Samsung's semiconductor chief Kim Gi-nam and Yoon Bu-gun earlier this month, and this as Samsung's biggest cash cow along with SK Hynix looks to be slammed the hardest over Japan's export restrictions that focus on materials needed for display and chip production. And later today, the presidential chief of staff will also be sitting down with some heads of 40 SME leaders later today for talks and its ways to expand and devise its contingency plans. Tiyun?